Good morning. Good morning. Oh, come on, you can do better than that. Good morning. Aren't you excited to be here today? I know that I am. This is my first time to do this, so this ought to be exciting. But, you know, today we're going to be talking about, continuing on the theme, today we're going to be playing with money. Isn't that, if you think about it, money is such a circulatory thing. You can't hold it in your hand and expect it to grow or to be more than what it is. So every time it's just like the reciprocity of the universe. Whatever you're giving out, you're getting back. And sometimes that's hard to believe because we think that we have to hold on to the money. We have to save it because we're waiting for bad times or we're waiting for something to unfold that we weren't prepared for. But money is just like the universe. It's circulatory. And we have to just keep flowing with that flow of circulation. Oh, he just gave me money. Wow, that was more powerful than I thought it was. Okay. Well, let's talk a little bit about what's going to be going on here at the center. I just want to give you a brief kind of overview of what we've got coming up, and it's on the back of your program. And one thing that has been that we had to cancel it because of some illnesses and stuff, but the visioning class. And so a lot of people say, why do I want to go to a visioning class? Well, do you know that you have to manifest twice in order for anything to appear in your life? Do you know what that means? It means that you have to, within your mind, visualize what it is that you desire, and then it can manifest. But without that vision, it would be like trying to invent the light bulb by Edison without having a clear vision of what direction he was going in. I'm just going to play around, and then whatever happens, happens. But the truth of the matter is you have to vision. You have to be able to put that into your life, into your desire. Not to want it, because then you'll spend the rest of your life wanting, but to desire what you want to appear in your life. You have to be able to visualize it. And this class is great for learning how to do that. It focuses you and shows you what the direction is to visualize what you want your life to be. Then after this class, in November 20th, we're going to have a visioning session for our center. And what that's going to be is that we add you to bring into this church to visualize what we want to occur, how we want to grow, how we want to be more than what we are right now. And it's just visualizing and using the congregation to visualize that change that we desire. And then we're also going to have a silent auction. And I don't know if any of y'all have participated in it before, but we have 3 Sundays that we will have the items out here for you to go around and sign, if you want to bid. And then at the end, on November 20th, after service, we'll announce the final, who the winners are, whatever items there are up for bid. And if you would like to bring something to donate, and it doesn't have to be something expensive. It could be a beautiful basket with spiritual books in it. It could be a vacation home stay. I think somebody told me Moore has done that before. So, or things like that. Or maybe you want to buy a gift certificate to a restaurant that people will bid on. And just remember, the bidding is not for the price of the item. It's money raised for our center. So you might go a little high for something, but it's a contribution back to the center. And so that's about it for our announcements. But we do have kids. Oh, I'll get there. Okay, yeah, so that's the announcements. Now, is there anybody here for the first time today? Oh, hi, good. Got 3 new people here. That's wonderful. Okay, with that.
One more.
Yeah, right. There's one more back. There you go. Right 2 more. And as you can tell, if you're new, we like to have fun here. So. Okay, we welcome you. We hope you'll come back. We hope you'll make this your spiritual home. So please, after service, come up and say hello to us so we have an opportunity to speak with you and get to know you a little bit and hope that we'll see you again. All right, so now I'm going to turn this over to Darcy and Brent. Woohoo!
Good morning. You'll see in your program, excuse me, you'll see in your program that I have the words there for you. And, excuse me, and something caught. And so let's all sing. You gotta accentuate the positive. And please stand if you wish. We can stand. You got it. You've got to accentuate the positive, eliminate the negative, latch on to the affirmative, and don't mess with Mr. In-Between. You got to spread joy up to the maximum, bring gloom down to the minimum, have faith. A pandemonium's liable to walk upon the scene. To illustrate my last remark, Jonah in the whale, Noah in the ark. What did they do just when everything looked so dark? Man, they said you better accentuate the positive, eliminate the negative, latch on to the affirmative, and don't mess with Mr. In-Between. Go, Brent! The ark. What did they do just when everything looked so dark? Man, they said you better accentuate the positive, eliminate the negative, latch on to the affirmative. Don't mess with Mr. In-Between. No, don't mess with Mr. In-Between. Oh, don't mess with Mr. In-Between. Yeah. Good morning, good morning, good morning.
Now I'd like to open up with our invocation. Let's just take a deep breath and just allow ourselves just to sink into this moment, just to relax your shoulders, relax your body, just relax into the truth of who and what you are. Each and every person present, I know, is a divine spirit, manifested by spirit, to exist here, to spread all the great attributes of God, to love the light, to have the life, to have the power and the peace and the joy and the beauty. All that God is now within you, ready to express, ready to be. And I know as this service unfolds, there will be nuggets that you will take and retain and take home with you. I know that there are things that will be said that you need to hear. And I know that every person present here is that spiritual being, opening up their hearts, ready to just let the good flow. The good that is the circulatory motions, that is the universe, ever changing, ever growing, ever expanding, just as we are. And so I am just so grateful for every person present here today, knowing that they are here by divine right order, that something, this urge within them, brought them forth today, ready to hear what needs to be heard. And so I have, with this gratitude for all of the universe and all the things that we touch by bringing forth this power, I just release this into the law of mind, knowing that everything is unfolding just as it should. And if this resonates with you, please join me in saying, and so it is. Now, please, in your program, you'll see our affirmation for the day. And please join me in saying it. Ready? Today, I dedicate my entire focus on recognizing those intuitive nudges, following hunches, hearing the still small voice within. I realize that time is not passing. I am passing through time and feasting on the abundance of the universe. And for this and so much more, I am thankful and live in willingness and readiness to receive. And so it is. Now I invite Catherine Kim to come forward and do our inspirational reading.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Today's reading is entitled Accept Your Simple Happiness. It's written by Murphy, the human whisperer. Each month, Murphy shares his dogma, Pause with Perspective. You can find this in the monthly message in the Science of Mind magazine. In the Zoom days, Simon would read these messages to you each month. Who remembers that? And these days he's a little speechless, so I will be reading on his behalf. Nevertheless, here's what Simon says too. I think one reason I'm so happy is because I almost always say yes. I say yes to food, especially broccoli, walks, play, naps, observation, and adventure. Maybe, later, and no are words that have little meaning to me. Ask Mama. I know humans' lives are different from those of dogs and cats, but I think humans need to say yes more and spend less time evaluating whether or not they want to do something, They should just go for it. I've noticed many humans have a built-in resistance to doing new things. I don't know why they don't realize that maybe, no, and later can make their world small. I don't think it's healthy for human minds or spirits to live in a world made small. I've learned that saying yes to life and new experiences awakens feelings of agelessness and excitement. I haven't met many humans who wouldn't benefit from having more frequent feelings of agelessness and excitement. Today's dogma affirmation: never hesitate to put yourself out there. Make time to play, observe, and marvel at the wondrous things throughout your day.
Oh, goodness. When I saw the topic for today, I had a moment of looking kind of back at my life and seeing how real money has been in my life and what that looks like. And one of the first things that came to mind was a senior in high school, had just finished a very rewarding concert, and I told my mother that I had something to tell her. I'm sure she was terrified because she had a wild child. She didn't know what I was going to say. But I said, Mom, you know that goal that I've had for like 10 years of being an attorney? Well, I want to be a singer. And I remember my mom looking, she was driving. I remember her looking in the rearview mirror and looking back at me and saying, you don't suppose you could be a singing attorney? she was worried that I was going to spend part of my life living in a car. That I probably would not be able to make enough money as a singer, and that would be a sad scene. And anyway, but I just knew that's what I had to do. Somehow, some way, somewhere, that was me. And I had an experience just three years ago, just right before COVID. My school district came to me and said, we're having a problem with the program. You have two choices. You can either take the program you have, and we're going to cut it in half, which means we're going to cut your pay in half. Or you can take another job, very much different than what you're doing, but it will be full-time, and you'll be fine. And I grieved for quite a few days. And I talked to friends and people, and I thought, what are you grieving? You're grieving that you might lose. Why are you betting on that? I'm not going to bet that I'm going to lose. And so I went in, and it was the very funniest thing you've ever seen in your life. Went into my bosses, and I said, they said, well, have you decided? And they started to hand me a piece of paper. And I said, no, I'll be taking the halftime job. I've never seen anybody do such a double take. They were like, what? And I said, that's what I'm supposed to do. And I'm going to be okay. Flash forward, I was able to buy a house, that was part of my question. I was able to do a bunch of things that I thought you could not do because I was going to be poor. And then I realized I have never been poor because God is my source. And knowing that has made me feel comfort, even in the weirdest times. And so money is a weird thing for me. I don't care. And yet, I care. But I don't care, because I know what my source is. And this song, today we're kind of doing a little bit of retrospect in my field of love, and a little bit of jazz. This is a song that was written that talks about who's in charge of you, who's in charge of your way of being. And the song is called God Bless the Child. Them that's got shall get, them that's not shall lose. So the Bible says, and it still is news. Your mama may have, and your papa may have, but God bless the child that's got his own, that's got his own. Yes, the strong gets more, while the weak ones fade. Empty pockets don't ever make the grade. Your mama may have, and your papa, he too may have, but God bless the child that knows her own, that's got her own. You've got money, you got lots of friends crowding around your door. But when it's gone and the spending ends, they don't come back no more. Rich relations give a crust of bread and such, you can help yourself, but don't you take too much. Oh, your mama may have, and your papa may too have, but God bless the child that's got her own, that's got her own. They don't come back no more. Rich relations can give you a crust of bread and such. You can help yourself, but don't you take too much, 'cause your mama may have, oh yeah, and your papa, he too may have. But God bless the child that's got it all, that's got it all. But God bless the child that can stand up and say,
God bless it. Got their own. Her own, his own. Thank you, Darcy. Thank you, Brent. Top of the morning. Good morning, yes. Thanks for being here today. Thanks for showing up today. Decided to come here instead of going someplace else. I have an opening blessing for you today. Yes, I do. Here's what it is. My opening blessing today is that may pennies, nickels, dimes, and dollars from heaven be in the rain showers and the snowstorms that just you may be coming into this winter, so that you can have money to play with. Interesting topic we got today. It's called playing with money, like Cheryl mentioned. Playing with money. I have a couple acquaintances who love to play with money. I call them acquaintances. You know, you say sometimes you'll say, I have a friend. This, that. Then you'll say, I have an acquaintance. That means you're not quite a friend if they're an acquaintance. But these are acquaintances. One's a woman who seems to be doing okay when she goes over to the coast to visit the casinos. She goes over quite regularly, and this guy does the same thing, but it's separate, and they both tell me their stories. And the woman does pretty good. She seems to be, she just does all right. But the guy, on the other hand, he kind of lives on hope and dreams, and he loses his shirt every time he goes over. But you know, he had a company, sold it out. He's got some bucks tucked away, and he seems to still have money to pay his bills, playing with money. That's kind of not the way I like to play with money, though. It's not my cup of tea. And I don't think that's what the Centers for Spiritual Living had in mind when they gave us this assignment today to talk about playing with money. I don't think that's what they had in mind, to go to the casino. But, you know, that can be fun for some folks, that's for sure. And before I get started, I have a friend, you know, not just an acquaintance, but a friend who goes to Woodland Chapel here. He shall remain nameless. It's a he. And he gave me a little packet here. I always ask him, could you find a joke for me that I could possibly share on Sunday morning? He says, I've got a packet of them. Would you like to take a look at them? So here is the packet, but I'll take one out of here and share it with you right now if you'd like to hear it. I liked it when I read it. I was sitting back here listening to the music and chuckling and laughing at the same time. So here's how the story goes. A new CEO takes over at a struggling company and decides to get rid of all the slackers. On a tour of the facilities, the CEO notices a guy leaning on a wall. He can't believe this guy would just stand around on the job. The new CEO walks up to the guy leaning on the wall and he asks, "What are you doing here?" "I'm just waiting to get paid," responds the man. Furious, the CEO asks, "How much money do you make a week?" A little surprised, the young fellow, he replies, "I make about $300 a week. Why, you ask?" And the CEO quickly gets out his checkbook. He hands the guy a check made out to cash for $1,200. And he says, "Here's 4 weeks' pay. Now get out and don't come back." And the young man puts the check in his pocket and promptly walks out. Feeling pretty good about himself, the CEO looks around the room and asks, "Does anyone want to tell me what just happened here?" From across the room comes a little voice, "Yeah, you just tipped the pizza guy $1,200. I thought that was pretty good. So thank you, friend, for that joke for the morning. Like I say, he shall remain nameless for the moment. So the last 2 Sundays, getting back to our topic now, the last 2 Sundays, Reverend Julie really had some good stuff to talk to us about. She introduced us to the idea of the flow of energy that we call money. Yeah, money. She revealed that what some of us know is that money really is, Cheryl kind of spoke to that one up here, that money is simply energy wearing clothes and has a number on it. So I like the ones with the hundreds on it. And we humans have done a lot, think about it now, we've done a lot of things to acquire and hold that energy in our hands and to have it in our possession and the emotions that surround money. And what we put on that acquisition of money runs the gamut, really, yeah. When it comes to money, we love it, but we hate it. And then we fear it because we're afraid of losing it. We want it, and we will do things and go places to have it and acquire it. Yeah. And so many times we forget that the intelligent energy around money can use a consciousness shifting on our parts. Yeah, I think that was brought up this morning a little bit. The paths that we follow while playing with money and acquiring money can just get a little bent, kind of a little crooked. Got some side roads that come up, some dead ends that come up. But in our consciousness straightening, that was what I like to call it, our attitude aligning is another way you can put it. When we surround that with our perspective of money, that's what gives money its power to take form for us and be straight around us, to get aligned. Reverend Julie, I just love the way she gave us this rich primer, I think, on the idea of right energy to get right with money. Yeah, so many times I was in business. By the time I was 19 years old, I was in business for myself. I actually never drew a paycheck all my life. I just took money that what I needed from my companies, and that's how we saved it. We saved a few dollars, didn't we, Phyllis? Yeah. So in the meantime, so many times when I was in business, what I found for myself that chasing money, I chased money a lot. It wasn't the best way for money to appear in my possession. No way. If you were here last Sunday, you also heard Reverend Julie speak to this, that law of attraction that here in New Thought people really come into a lot of time, talk about. And she turned a corner. I think she just shifted gears on this. And she suggested that we explore and understand the revelation of our own radiating, the radiation of our inner self. She's got to talking about consciousness, our attitudes and our feelings out to the world for the cultivation of an atmosphere for money, for all abundance to start growing and then become and manifest out of our consciousness, out of the garden we're growing inside of ourselves. We can hear said sometimes from folks who don't really get that. They'll say, he's got a golden touch. Everything he touches turns to gold, it seems like. I remember my dear old dad, he always talked about, people, God dang, he's lucky, just lucky, he found some luck, yeah. He'd always say, that guy could fall into a bucket of cow manure and come out smelling like a rose. Everything's all about luck to him. Bless his heart, loved him. But here's that human error thinking that we have good luck and we have bad luck, and we have good and we have evil, of course. And here's another error in thinking I think we get into. We simply have these forces around us beyond our control. So we just simply got to say, oh, well, that's just the way it is. It's in the hands and the whims of the gods. So if I pray, I'm going to pray for good luck or God bless me. Well, we think that's enough sometimes. All we can do, and then, as we gain just a little bit of spiritual understanding, and you'll get that here in this house of faith, an understanding where we begin to talk about this law of attraction. That's the first thing that kind of comes into our mind. You've heard me talk about it from up here even. But as we progress a little further in our depth of studies here, we begin to understand that consciousness is all there is. When we talk about God is all there is, consciousness for the human is all there is. And the quality of our consciousness, that sum total of all we believe, that sum total of all we believe is what we receive. That's what we receive. Done unto us, all that stuff. Going to the kingdom first, and then all else falling into place. Julie talked about that. Our depth of understanding is our willingness to receive what we believe. So listen to this. Just listen to this now. If we believe that we always have an abundance of money, somehow, somewhere, sometime, an abundance of whatever it takes to be happy and healthy and opulent, whatever that is that we're really feeling good about, if we believe that we always have that, then there will be a continuous movement towards us of this supply of money. And all that we need to express the fullest of life and continuing happiness and whatever you call this, action, this does take a conscious effort. It takes effort, really, an input of ours, a conscious intention of ours, a visioning of ours, to be living from our radiant inner knowing that money is as spiritual as anything else. And like everything else, it's an effect that shows up from the cause of our consciousness. That's directing, manifesting, attracting, creating. We're manifestors. We're manifestors. We talk about co-creation, yeah, but we can be infested by fearful thoughts, by greed, by our ego. We have the power to, this is what's great though, we've got the power to uninfest fearful thoughts. You betcha. and contrary beliefs that we got to get our share because someone else may get it if we don't. We have the power to go past that. Now, I grew up watching my parents really struggle to keep us kids, my younger brother and my younger sister and I, to provide for us. I remember having, though, a lot of pride in my father because, dang, he worked so hard. He worked so hard at hard labor jobs to make ends meet. Never complained about it. Oh, well, he did some, I guess. And I respected my mother so much, watching her creatively trying to make a meal out of nothing to put on the table for the family to sit and enjoy so we could have that family time. I was the oldest child, and it seemed like sometimes this happens, doesn't it? The parents let their oldest child in on more of the stuff of stress and trials of the family than they do the younger ones. And I remember a bit of that stress as my parents confided, certain things to me that was not revealed to my two younger siblings. In between ranch jobs and farm jobs that my father loved to do, that was his love, is working with animals and working with land and that kind of thing. Never owned his own. It always worked for somebody else. But in between those ranch and farm jobs, there was a time when we had to move into town, a little town in Idaho. It was a little country town called Shoshone, Idaho. And my father found a job working for, he was waiting on another job. He hoped that was going to work out. He was going to be a ranch manager out in the other side of town. But he got this part-time job working for an auto agency that sold cars and was the major garage in town. Yeah, I remember this. I was in the 8th grade. We called it junior high then. It's middle school today. And for a short period of time, we kids would get this treat in being in town. We began to really get hooked on this. Every Saturday afternoon, my mama would give us 75 cents out of the grocery money. And I was assigned as the guardian to walk to the movie theater with my younger siblings. And we walked and had that Saturday afternoon matinee. Gosh, we enjoyed that. But when my father's hours got cut to half days at the garage, business had slowed, I guess. But the 75 cents was no longer available out of the grocery fund for our special treat. So my little brother and sister were really disappointed. Me too. But I didn't make a fuss, as my siblings did. I just kept silent. I was a watcher of my parents. Their body language, I could see it. I listened to their whispers. I could read their faces. I could feel their anxiety and the worries that they carried with them. I carried them also. I'd walk with my dad to the garage where he told me stories of how we were going to get this ranch. And someday I'd get a horse. I'd get my own horse. And that was good. But as he did his half-day garage duties, I walked around the area. Before we walked back home, I noticed the cars that were displayed on the sales lot being washed down by the two sales guys. They obviously were doing double duty because they were really complaining. One guy smoked Camel cigarettes. I remember one after the other. He'd light a cigarette and light another one. The other guy had a cigar. They were friendly with me, but they were really complaining about having to wash those cars down. So I thought of my little brother and sister and how they missed those Saturday afternoon serial movies. So I asked the two complaining guys if they'd like me to wash down the cars. I'd do it every day. I'd come do it. They'd just pay me what they thought I was worth. Well, I remember that rather heavy-set guy with the cigar chewed it as much as he smoked it. He asked me, he said, school starts next week. How are you going to do that? School's working. The school's coming up. What would you do about the job? And I said, I'd come after school. I live here in town. I can come after school, have the cars all washed down, and then for the next day, no problem. Well, the other guy, this tall, skinny guy, taller and skinnier than I am today, he was the guy that smoked the Camel cigarettes. He said, you talk to your dad over in the garage. And if he says yes, I'm okay. How about you? And I don't remember the guy's name. We'll just pay you out of our pockets. Don't have to tell the boss. Just keep him out of this. So I headed back to the garage to find my dad. Well, on Friday afternoon, I ran from the school because we got started to the car lot about 5 blocks away. I'd been doing all week, washing those cars, coming down, doing it. And the agreement was they'd pay me out of their pockets the amount that they figured was worth it every Friday. This was Friday. Oh, God, but my heart sank when I saw the owner of the car agency standing with the 2 guys talking, smoking. But they were smiling and smoking their cigarettes and the cigar. And the owner said, Donnie, you're here for payday, huh? And I thought, oh, God, how did he know? They weren't supposed to know about that. Well, I told these guys to pay you fair. And then the 2 men reached in their pockets, and they handed me, each of them, 2 $1 bills. Each of them had me 2 $1 bills. I was expecting pocket change. Now, you got to remember, this is years ago. Quart of milk, a loaf of bread, 50 cents. That bought the quarter. That bought that fine. But the owner said something that made my little 8th grade young boy mind spin. Talk about the law of attraction working. He said, you know, your dad's going to be working full days now in the garage because we have the detail shop opened up, cleaning all the cars, the new cars, and for sale, delivery. And you know, it's going to be a lot of ongoing work. He's going to have to work some weekends, keep those cars during the week washed down too, all this stuff. He says, I could pay you an extra $5 if you'd help your dad on Saturdays. Then the guys here could pay you out of their pockets for what they thought the job was worth for you doing here. I was in heaven. The only thing I had about in happy feelings was who was going to be taking my little brother and sister to Saturday matinee movies. It wasn't going to be. I was going to be working on Saturdays, but that was okay because that was even taken care of because they weren't going to be able to walk by themselves. But my mama, then we had the money with my dad working full time and me getting that extra money that she could take time off and walk them and enjoy the matinee herself. 3 people, 75 cents, a quarter to get in. Not bad, yeah. You see, the divine, even though my dad was longing to work on the ranch and farm work, there's a story about that I can't tell you right now, how he got at that wonderful job. But that divine was working through everybody's consciousness in this whole thing. It was something I couldn't think of back then, but I do know it now. We had the extra movie money. I felt the empowerment of money. I began to really feel the empowerment of money flowing to me and through me and for me for the good of my family and me. Now, stories are all fine. I like to share stories. But I want to take and get us back on track here. I think it's necessary to dig just a little deeper into the understanding of this idea of money being energy and form with numbers, and we being conscious of what and who we are and how that impacts the law of attraction with abundance, which, of course, includes money. Now, here's a real, I think, powerful statement that I've seen it used. I've used it myself. It's about the idea of being conscious of who and what we are, or of what and who we are trying to be, or trying to portray to the world and others of who we are. We do that a lot. You see, something about there's an intuitive nature about you, me, all of us. We have this in us. There's the intuitive nature of the spiritual being that we are that can see through the human ego. It can see through the attempts of someone trying to portray something that we're not. And it's portrayed beautifully and boldly through this saying from Ralph Waldo Emerson. Remember this now? He said, "What you are speaks so loudly I cannot hear what you say." You betcha. We shine with the truth. We're surrounded by the truth. I once heard a New Thought minister say, "Money has ears. Use caution what you say about money. Never curse for lacking money if you think you're lacking money, because money flees from a consciousness found in poverty." Why? Money can't bloom and grow in a consciousness full of desperation or fear or anger or resentment. It's all about our inside. And the most important thing to remember about money is that it just needs to be framed. Again, we talked about that. It's just another form of abundance, just another form. Money loves to be respected and honored, and money to be circulated, yeah. And really listen to this. For our spiritual health, it's powerfully healthy to love money. Love money, betcha, yeah. To love money is healthy. Why? I know this topic often has emotional charge for everybody, but if we go to the truth of divine flow, that all is in motion. You know how that universe is moving all the time, we talk about. Another way of saying that to allow divine circulation in the form of money to happen in our life, we must love money. I don't mean in a fear-based, hoarding or clinging way, but simply as we love the source we call God. What do we love first? All our hearts. We go to God, that which what we know to be God. Yeah, it means we got to release old beliefs and old stories that have been hampering this natural flow of abundance. And I said it earlier, money is as spiritual as everything else, and like everything else, it has the effect that shows up as from this outward radiating energy of our own consciousness. It's all we have to work on, really. And since we are expressions of the universe, then the natural abundance of the universe should be reflected through us, in us, as us, for us. And money's a part of that. Money's a part of that abundance. So the challenge is always this: how do we cultivate and navigate the energy in our own lives to be living, enjoying, playing in abundance instead of living in lack? Well, in closing, I would like to share a few meditative words. I like to share some what I call empowerment words. These words were written by a dear friend of mine who's traveling the world, abundantly living their own truth, staying in alignment with spirit that supplies them with all that they desire. And I invite you to just take a moment with me. This is going to be a contemplative moment for us. Just be with me on this. I'm going to touch up a little tune here, a little bit of music, and it'll put us into a frame of reference of mind. We always talk about money because we love money. So as I speak some meditative words, therapeutic healing words, I just ask you to get comfortable. Close your eyes if you can. I'm going to turn the lights down. And if you wish, you can focus on your breath. But don't breathe forcefully. Don't be sucking in and then blowing it out. Just breathe mindfully. Just be comfortable. And just listen and heed these words. These can be your mantra words for the rest of your abundant life. Make yourself a promise. Promise yourself these gifts of living. From this moment on, the rest of your days, promise yourself that you will look for and recognize abundance wherever you can, wherever you are. Celebrate the abundance of sunshine and rain today. Notice the abundance of dandelions and smile and see others smiling too. And relish the abundance of choices that you have at the grocery store. And don't look with disdain at the prices. For God's sake, just make choices. And notice the abundance of clouds in the sky. Look for abundance in every form and cherish it. Flow with it. Let it in. And let it flow through you. Bask in the flow of abundance. Bask in it. play in the flow. Smile and laugh, and feel the abundance of trillions of brilliant cells in your body. Feel the abundance of air that you breathe in and out. It's there for you. Mother Earth furnishes it willingly, sharing with the world your breath. And so much evidence in this beautiful universe of ours is so beautiful. And if there's a person who's really struggling here today, struggling to awaken from the self-limiting beliefs about money or anything else in life holds back from happiness, then just try taking your attention off the money. Take it off altogether and simply love just every other aspect of your life. And there you'll find love. Blessing upon blessings are to be noticed, and just say out loud each day. Speak. Your heart wants to hear you talk. Just say thank you, thank you, thank you. Truly appreciating all that you have in your life, even if it's just a pillow to love, a favorite pillow, something that brings comfort. And there's something that you can give your attention to, that you can be grateful for. It's there somewhere. And that you have in your life. Maybe it's just the body that you have that works, even with infirmities. And thank the friendships, even if it numbers only one. Be grateful. Think on the delights of someone who cares for you and you for them. Think on that. Life is like a big money coffer waiting to be filled with you. Fill those coffers with your vibrational radiating love. You could do that. Yeah, love. And more love until you're swimming in a sea of love. And then make a quiet place. Just make a quiet place where you can wait upon the Lord of all that is. And don't be surprised when more money begins to flow into your life. Say thank you, thank you, thank you. And if you do this, your consciousness will begin the changes in your thinking and your actions. And as God is my witness, by God your life will change. That's my promise to you this morning. So let us come back and take that breath that says, thank you. In fact, just right now, as I say, and so it is, why don't you think of one thing in your life that you really know you're thankful for? And together, why don't we just say, thank you, thank you. And so it is. Amen. Well, thank you for being here today and coming to hear our message that has to do with money. I hope you play the rest of the afternoon with, if you have no money to play with, just play anyhow. Okay. Okay. And I have a stack of jokes here to read. Next time I see you, we'll pick another one out. Thank you, my good friend. Thank you. Who shall remain nameless for the moment. So I'll turn this off here. And what we do now is we kind of have some music, do we not?
Yes, we do. Well, I just want to tell you a little story. A long time ago, about 1,000,000 years BC, the best things in life were absolutely free. but no one appreciated a sky that was always blue, and no one congratulated a moon that was always new. So it was planned that they should vanish now and then, and we must pay before we get them back again. 'Cause that's what storms are made for, and we mustn't be afraid, for every time it rains pennies from heaven. Don't you know each cloud contains pennies from heaven? You'll find your fortune falling all over town. Just be sure that your umbrella's upside down. Trade it for a package of sunshine and flowers. If you want the things you love, you gotta have showers. So when you hear it thunder, don't run under a tree. There'll be pennies from heaven for you and me. Well, every time that it rains pennies from heaven. Don't you know each cloud contains pennies from heaven? You'll find your fortune falling all over town. Just be sure that your umbrella's upside down. Trade it for a package of sunshine and flowers. If you want the things you love, you've gotta have showers. So when you hear it thunder, don't run under a tree. There'll be pennies from heaven. Pennies from heaven. Pennies from heaven for you and me. But
now it's time for the offertory part of our service. So I'd like to ask the ushers to come forward, please. Let's have some fun with money. Yes.
Oh, that's a $100 bill. Thank you.
Oh!
Very good. We're going to make a team. Let's do blessing.
All right.
Yeah, let's do blessing.
And we're blessing song, right? Blessing. In your program, you find the words. Right by it. Very easy. Is that you it? Blessed always. Blessed always. For the arms of God surround us. Let our joy be so triumphant that we rest in God and say Amen.
The wonderful thing I'd like to say right here too is about the divine love as me and all that. Why don't we just say that right now because we know that's the truth about it.
Yes.
In your program, it's right there. Divine love
As me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, and all that I circulate. And so it is.
As this money comes forth, every person here is contributing to this teaching, to this great and wonderful center that we are now just experiencing that flow of circulation. And we know that every dollar, every dime, everything that's been put into this plate just multiplies this teaching, brings forth all the good that we are, and brings it forth into the community and allows us to continue to be this spiritual center. And so with so much gratitude in my heart, I just am so grateful for the circulation of the money, the flow that just keeps continuously surrounding and immersing us in this good and this beautiful spirit that is God. And so I just release my word now into law, knowing that the circulation of the universe is in good hands with us. And so it is.
Thank you. Thank you, Simon.
That's all right.
Please join me in the prayer of protection now. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.